What's going on, everybody? It is Monday, which is not the normal Mission Accomplished night, and that is because we have a special edition show for you tonight. I got my boy Mike. I got my boy Ben from Against the Cage. What's going on, fellas?
What's
Daddy's
the deal?
home.
Daddy's home.
Daddy's home.
We could say mommy, but not tonight.
It would be more like an Oscar De La Hoya style daddy when I see you guys next with the makeup and the minus the cross dressing.
You know, happy Monday, motherfucker, says Jay Jackson, which is cool. And
Okay.
Joe Ivy's in the chat already. So what's up, dude? I know Mike is on business up in New Hampshire, Vermont, wherever the fuck.
Concord, New Hampshire.
Concord, New Hampshire. What are you doing up there, dude?
I'm traveling the world, you know? I'm a jet setter. We fixing the world's problems.
That's
What
a
I'm
lie.
doing.
And Ben, what are you doing?
He's taking care of business. I am the business. Making fights.
Susan Walker wants to know where your makeup is, man.
Well, we actually have a story to share on that because I was feeling a little bit overly confident Saturday morning. And as everybody knows, the original plan was to do that here tonight. But me and my overconfidence thought I really wanted to up the ante here and really try to embarrass Kyle. And as everybody knows, that backfired extremely. So at the first Cage Wars event that these gentlemen can cover, we will be going live, doing my makeup and having a drink at the hotel bar. So kind of screwed myself pretty good on that one.
Yeah. So Ben, he says he got overly confident, but in reality, he got scared.
Why would I be scared? I upped the bet. I made it worse. I was confident. If I was scared, I would have canceled it.
My man, if it was on the internet, it's forever.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be on the internet because we're still going live. We can't take that away from everybody after we had already promised that. I was up in the risk here because I really wanted to embarrass you, but as we can see, the embarrassment's going to fall on me probably sometime towards the end of January, beginning of February.
All right. Well, the truth of the matter is that betting on Lauren Murphy against Valentina Shevchenko was the dumbest idea anybody's ever had in the history of their life. One. And two, this event, this past Saturday night, UFC 266, was fucking amazing, man. Minus the Curtis Blades fight, which, you know, was okay.
That was still good in its own way, though. You know what I mean?
It was.
You gotta figure you can't have an amazing, or every fight be an amazing fight on these cards. You know, there's gonna be one or two where you're gonna kind of relax and catch a lull for a minute.
Yeah. So, guys, let's go ahead and start right off with the I'm gonna throw the ticker up there. It's got the results for the entire night. Start off with the main event, dude. Main event, Alexander Volkanovsky versus Brian Ortega. Now, Brian Ortega had lost to Max Holloway in a very vicious way. Alexander Volkanovsky is the champ, has defended his title twice now, right? He beat Max Holloway. He defended it against Max Holloway, and then he defended it a second time. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And now people are questioning his validity as a champion, but what do you think about what happened Saturday night as far as Alexander Volkanovsky versus Brian Ortega? Ben, you first.
I think, you know, people questioning the validity of him as a champion is kind of ridiculous. The old saying is you're not a champion until you defended at least once. He's done that. He beat the guy and then he defended against somebody else to, you know, kind of solidify himself as the champ. I think it's ridiculous people call that into question. Interesting stat for you. In Brian Ortega's title losing efforts both times, he absorbed more strikes or significant strikes than he has in all of his other fights combined. I don't know if that kind of paints an accurate picture of how this fight was for you guys, or how those two fights went for him, but something that I thought was interesting.
Mike, what do you got to say?
Well, Brian Ortega is a fucking dog, okay? The guy doesn't get a lot of credit. If you go online and you read through, all of the posts about UFC and Brian Ortega, and I know something happened maybe in our group or somewhere, there was a post where someone's like, oh, they got to stop doing it to these guys. What? This guy fought his friggin' ass off, okay? And Volkanovsky, same thing. Guy fought his ass off. And I know in the last show I said, like, Volkanovsky's the kind of guy where I think of fights and I think of champions. And he's not one of the champions that I'm like, wow, I can't wait to see this guy fight. He just isn't. He wasn't. While I was watching this fight, I was like, holy shit, these guys are both dogs. The fight was phenomenal. The third round was absolutely awesome.
Insane.
It's up for one of the round of the year. And we had another round during this show that we'll talk about later. But both of those guys deserve all the credit in the world for what they did. It was amazing. They put on a show. I loved every second of it. I was glued to my television, and I could not believe how awesome this fight turned out because I didn't really have too high of hopes for it.
Take a look at that. Take a look at the stat right on the screen there. 220. I can't see because my eyes suck. 228. 229 to 101. Now, Alexander Volkanovsky, we got to talk about the submission attempts that Mike is talking about in the third round. That fucking shit was absolutely insane. He's in the guillotine. His legs start straightening out. And we're like, oh shit, he's out, right? He freaking busts out of that shit. Then he gets caught in a triangle. His legs start really twitching. We're like, oh, it's over now. He busts through it again. Can this guy not be put out?
His survey says no. I mean, he got through two of the tightest chokes I think we've ever seen. Them fuckers were tighter than a group of nuns, bro. Like, there was anybody else in that division taps out or goes to sleep.
He even said that, and Brian Ortega said he started to hear the gurgle. He started to hear the gurgle, and he was like, oh yeah, this guy's going out. Alexander Volkanovsky started to gurgle. And he was like, oh, fuck, I'm not going out to this motherfucker right now. Boom, busts out of it. I think that Alexander Volkanovsky might be one of the most legit champions that they have on the roster right now. Out of all the champions, he's about as legit as they get. He took the title from Max Holloway, who is the consensus greatest featherweight champion of all time, defended it against Max, and now defended it against Brian Ortega. I mean, any doubters out there for Alexander Volkanovsky need to just step back and be like, whoa, hey.
The fact that he even makes 145 to me is absolutely mind-blowing. This was a guy who a few years before he started training was a 215-pound fucking beefcake, like just pure muscle rugby player. He makes 145 with ease, it seems like.
He does. It's amazing. And a lot of people don't know that he was a rugby player and that he weighed over 210 pounds when he was playing. It's amazing that he cuts down to that weight. And not only does he cut down, but he's fit as hell. And obviously he's still a beast. So his weight cut isn't affecting his performance.
What about his jab, dude? Dude, that fucking jab kept just busting up Brian Ortega's face all night long. And now Ryan Chaddock says in the comments, honest question, how do you beat him? I don't fucking know. Man, how do you beat him?
You've got to be able to match his pressure. I feel like that's the one thing that nobody's been able to do is get him backing up and really put the pressure on him.
I think, and a lot of people are going to be like, shit, again, Max Holloway, he's the guy. I think he won the second fight. A lot of people think he won the second fight, but he lost the second fight. That's just the way it went. That's the way the judges saw it, and that's what's on paper. But I really do believe that Max Holloway is the guy to put the pressure on him and could beat the fuck out of him. But the thing is that Volkanovsky is definitely a very defensive fighter, and he doesn't get hit as often as he should. And when he gets put in fucking crazy positions like we saw, I mean, listen, Brian Ortega, his nickname is T-City. He got caught in the T from T-City. and fucking broke out of that shit after he broke out of the G City. You know what I'm saying? Like he's amazing, dude. Yeah. I don't know how he did it. I thought he was freaking gonna die from that choke, and then somehow he gets in another fucking choke, and he still gets out of it. I don't understand. He's amazing. He blew my mind the other day.
It really is. It really is one of those rare situations where a guy beats somebody twice in a row, and then they line up a trilogy. So you're right. Max Holloway is the only one that makes sense right now, because if you look at that featherweight division, who the fuck else? I mean, Yair Rodriguez doesn't fight.
I would say, not to interrupt, but a great name is Giga Chikadze. That's the only guy I think really offers any issues for the champ right now. But you say those two lost trilogy situations are rare, but we're probably gonna see one with Valentina Shevchenko.
Yes.
So
and it's really like eerily similar with those two, because Valentina, in a lot of people's eyes, beat Amanda Nunes in that second fight, just like Max beat Alexander Volkanovsky in that second fight. But they gave it to the champion. So yeah, there is very rare situations that this shit happens, but I gotta say, man, this fight alone, but we're talking about this fight right now. I mean, you got to give Brian Ortega his due, man. That dude is, like Mike said, is a dog. He takes a beating and just keeps on fucking going. He did it against Max. He did it against Alex. What is next for Volkanovsky? And Mike already said it's Max, but I'm going to ask you, Ben, what's next for Volkanovsky? But I'm going to ask you both, what is next for Brian Ortega?
For Volk, it's got to be the winner of Yair and Holloway. For Ortega, he needs to fight down somewhere. With Yair already and Holloway's obviously, they're both already taken. He already fought Chan Sung Jung. So, like, I mean, just look at the only other names available in the top 5. That's Calvin Keator. Interesting fight. I think that would be a lot of fun. Or Arnold Allen. You know, somebody, he's got to punch down at this point. The only name above you whoops your ass. And the only name directly underneath you is fighting the guy that whooped your ass. So can't really fight in either direction, up one, down one. So I think it's going to be somebody like a Calvin Keator.
Mike?
Well, he took the words right out of my mouth, because that's the exact guy that I was going to say is Calvin Keator. Yep. The guys are coming off of losses, and they're both beasts. The only thing is that we saw what happened to what Calvin Keator, and maybe it's MMA math, and he got picked apart like a fucking he got fucking picked apart like a freaking Thanksgiving dinner. And guess what? I don't think he's going to have anything for Volkanovsky, to be honest with you. I think Volkanovsky does the same thing to him.
Absolutely.
It's funny, though, that like both Brian Ortega and Calvin Keator both absolutely got shit on by Max Holloway. So, yeah, I like that. Make those guys fight next.
Absolutely. And so I think we have covered that one. I mean, that was an amazing main event. Where would you say that lands in the fights of the year?
Man, I don't know. I don't even know if that one will end up in the running, because the third round was the real, you know what I mean? Like, oh God, I'm stressed. Holy shit moment. That was the one where you really needed the Xanax. So I don't know if that round will be enough to put that into the top 5. But I wouldn't even consider it a contender. We'll have to wait and see where it falls out. At the end of the year, where everything goes.
What did you guys think about when, at the end of the third round, when Brian Ortega was laying flat on his back, and the referee's standing over him, telling him to get to his corner, and he's just laying there for a good 10 seconds.
I thought they were going to stop the fight.
Yes, and he finally gets up and he gets to his corner, and then the doctor comes out after the round, in between the rounds is over. Doc comes out, checks him. He's telling him 1, 2, how many fingers am I holding up? And Brian Ortega looks like he's struggling to tell him how many fingers are being held up. What'd you guys think about that?
Forget the fact that he's growing like another testicle under his eye. It was all swelled up. I think he was as close to being unconscious as you possibly can be. That whole saga just gave him time to recover.
Mike?
Dude, When he's laying on the ground, I thought they were going to stop the fight. I did not realize that he was laying down at his corner. So lucky for him, he's able to just kind of play it off like, I'm just laying here in my own corner until they bring the stool over. And as soon as they put the stool down, he sat up and got onto the stool. So he could play it off. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was so fucked up that if he was in another fucking corner, he'd still be laying there too. But it kind of was played off a little, worked out for him for being in his own corner. When they did the how many fingers am I holding up, I could not figure out what was going on because you could only hear certain things being said by the ref and the doctor. And it seemed like he answered their question, but they didn't like it. So they asked him multiple times afterwards. And I know he was tired. So he was trying to take a couple of seconds to get a breath. And he also probably couldn't fucking see either out of his eye. So he was trying to do that. But I do think that he could see out of his other eye. And he was just trying to waste time. You know what I'm saying?
So when the doctor said, can you see how many fingers I'm holding up? Or no, it might have been the ref, but one of them said, can you see? And he said, I think. That was the second that I thought they were going to call the fight right there.
Yeah, because we saw it at the last Cage Wars. The second you even mention anything about not being able to see, the fight is over. Dan Mergliotta stopped at the last second. You know what I mean? Or right as the round was about to end, he stopped it because the fighter said he couldn't see.
Right.
I noticed during that, though, with the doctor, and I think I can see. And Herb goes, how many fingers am I holding up? If you notice, he's kind of like moving his hand over towards the other eye. Like, look over here, you stupid fuck. Like,
right. And it sounded like Brian wasn't quite sure about the number he was going to throw out there when he was asking how many fingers. He was like, and he said it.
Yeah, like he wasn't sure. And I thought he got it wrong because I couldn't see their hands.
Me too. It was crazy, man. And, all the respect in the world to Brian Ortega for the heart that dude has. It's like fucking crazy that he survived that round. And then he came out and he won the 5th round. Right? In everybody's eyes, he won that 5th round.
Right. And I thought that he could have pulled out the 3rd also if he didn't get beat so mercilessly at the end. You know what I'm saying? He could have really taken that round.
Because of the
and it would have been a little closer. Right. He really had the dominating positions that the fight was almost over twice there in his favor.
He blew his wad and then got it fucking dog walked for the rest of the round. I mean, how else? And Joe Ivy's asking about the Purge walkout. It was fucking stupid. All right. When I first heard everything going off, I'm like, what is this? Like the Attitude Era and Right to Censor's about to walk out with their shirts and ties and tell us all to go fuck ourselves. The main event's canceled. It was dumb. Give me Adesanya doing his tribal dance again. We'll take that.
I didn't know what to think about it because you know what? Those same masks that he wore on the way out there, I bought my 10 and 6-year-old for Halloween last year.
Yes, but they're 10 and 6. This is a grown-ass man who, I'm assuming, he's an adult. He pays bills, has a mortgage, masturbates, has pubic hair, pays taxes, right? Like, this is an adult that probably smoked a fat-ass blunt in the back. And last minute was like, dude, run to Spirit Halloween. I got a fucking incredible idea that everybody's going to love. And we're all at home on Reddit like, this guy's fucking stupid. He put extensions in his hair to braid it. What a douchebag.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
That is, exactly.
He was short-haired the day before. And then all of a sudden, the next day, he had long enough hair to cornrow. Get out of here with that shit.
He's not made of Play-Doh, like where those old Play-Doh play sets you push down on the thing and the Play-Doh comes out the top of the dude's head. Like, is that what happened?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think we have a few of those. To go back to talking about fights of the year, one of the fights of the year, which happens to be the very beginning of 2021, is Max Holloway versus Calvin Keator. That was right at the beginning of the year. But for me,
that was piss pounding of the year.
Right, exactly. And so when I look at fight, I like a back and forth battle. That was like a one-sided beatdown that was exciting to watch because you couldn't fucking believe that this guy was still standing up and fighting and got to make it through the whole fight. You know what I mean? That's not the type of shit that I call a fight. It's a fucking beatdown.
Yeah, it was more of a shock and awe. Like, you're shocked in Max Holloway's performance. You're kind of like, oh, poor Calvin.
Right. You just can't believe, like, the heart. Like, when they keep talking about how tough somebody is, they're losing the fight, And then the fight so far this year that I really, really, really like was the Dillashaw fight. And if you guys know that fucking Dillashaw fight, him and Sandhagen went back and forth like fucking maniacs and beat the shit out of each other. And that's a fight that I think could be a contender for fight of the year.
100%. And that it was a good enough effort for Corey Sandhagen to where he's going to be, he's being heavily considered for an interim title fight because Aljamain Sterling dropped out.
Right. Aljamain Sterling, who I like, but I'm very disappointed in
I know. I love
the circumstances.
Aljo as a New Yorker. You know, you kind of back your guys from your state. But man,
and now they're talking that somebody's going to step in for Aljo for the interim, and they're saying Sandhagen. Why wouldn't it be Dillashaw?
Because he just had his knee rebuilt.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he's coming off of surgery. There's a reason that Beauvais calls me the guru, my friend.
TJ Dillashaw blew out his knee in the fucking Sandhagen fight?
I don't know if he blew out his knee, but he definitely needed surgery on it afterwards. Yeah, get with it, Kyle.
Go fuck yourself, Ben.
That's Joe Ivy. I'm reading your comments
September
for
8th.
you.
Get with it, Kyle. Joe Ivy. How about you tell Ben to get with it and put some fucking makeup on right now, bitch?
Come to New York.
Talking to you, Ben.
I'm waiting on you. Come to New York. Let's go. Let's go.
Basically, TJ Dillashaw is saying that he probably won't fight till early 2022.
Yeah, probably not. John Jones said the same thing too, and
then
he got arrested.
That interim. Then they shouldn't make that interim fight.
You guys realize that John Jones is 5 arrests away from tying his title defense record?
John Jones is a fucking moron, but let's not get stuck on that subject.
Because it's going to piss me off again, and I'm going to go off on a rant. So we'll move on from John Jones.
Yeah, let's move right on to the co-main event. How about that? The fact
let's
that
do it.
Ben,
1 second. Let me shut my cam off because my photo is a live look at what I looked like during the entire co-main event.
Yep, that was him.
So I'll just sit there with this.
So back in January, I was on Against the Cage with Mr. Ben Field.
I wish we had that clip.
Yeah, and
you had it before.
We did.
Mike, where did it go?
We did end of the year predictions, and this fucking scrinkly faced fucking moron over here says
the Moon
Lauren Murphy will be the women's flyweight champion for the UFC at year's end, and I said, no fucking way in hell.
What would you have done if she would have won, though?
It never would have happened.
Dude.
No
shit
fucking
your pants.
Hey, you know how you watch Marvel, right? You watch Marvel, and we know
I've never
about
watched a single Marvel movie.
Oh God!
So
God, that's a story for another day. But here's the thing: you watch, say, Marvel. They have the multiverse, right? They have all sorts of different dimensions where, you know, maybe instead of us being on the podcast, I'm actually part of the UFC having a podcast, and I'm not talking to you fucking losers tonight, okay? just kidding. I love you both. But here's the thing. In an alternate dimension, in all of them, Lauren Murphy loses in every single one of them.
There's not a single one of them
alternate dimension where she wins. There's not one dimension.
So Doctor Strange would say, Tony, zero chances. So he went into the future.
Exactly, right.
He checked 1 million different possibilities. In Doctor Strange, after checking 1 million possibilities, the possibility that Lauren Murphy beats Valentina was zero.
So
zero.
Let me explain my reasoning here, because
zero.
As Kyle knows, and Mike is growing to learn, I am the type of person that is loyal to a fault, even if it's like questioning as whether or not the state should be paying me and I should be on disability type of loyal to a fault. Stuff like that. When I met Lauren Murphy back in 2018, she gave me tickets to an event, and I was able to attend it and meet Lauren, and I've got to know her on a nice personal level throughout this time. And one thing that I noticed, and like, I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses because that's not what I'm trying to do. Lauren Murphy has always struggled with mental health problems, anxiety, self-doubt. And you could definitely see that the second the lights went down on Saturday and Valentina started her walk, that Lauren Murphy, she'd lost the fight right there. You could tell that she checked out, the pressure set in, and she was done. Not that even Lauren Murphy at her best, I don't think was beating Valentina. You know what I mean? After seeing how good Valentina looked Saturday, no version of Lauren Murphy was going to beat her. But you got to wonder, had she not been checked out or, maybe had a little bit more of her confidence with her, would she have been able to pose even the slightest of problems? But instead, it was like, I think I could have done better fighting Valentina Saturday night.
Ben.
And that's
Ben.
Kyle.
You're sitting here telling me that you made friendship with fucking Lauren Murphy, but when you fucking made this bet with me, you said it doesn't matter that she looks like Leatherface.
I know. I said Vanderlei Silva.
I'm pretty sure you said.
Or no, I said it looked like her face was stitched together by the old leather purses. That's what I said.
Okay, that's what you said. Who would say that about a friend? You fucking piece of shit.
Hey.
Have you heard some of the things I've said to you, and I consider you a friend?
This
fucking asshole above me called us losers a minute ago. This that
was in an alternate dimension.
Oh yeah, alternate dimension.
No, in an alternate. Okay, so can we just talk about for a second how amazing Valentina Shevchenko is, dude? That girl, she's never gonna lose to anybody in the 125-pound division ever. And what needs to happen now that she beat Ben's favorite fighter on the planet, Lauren Murphy, Amanda Nunes needs to go ahead, beat fucking Juliana Pena, and they need to make that trilogy, right?
I don't know, man, because they're putting a lot of money behind Miesha Tate and trying to get her to a title shot. Yes. So I don't know if we're going to see that Valentina trilogy. As far as the fight itself goes, it reminded me of like when your little cousin comes over and you put on like the UFC game and you put 2-player mode on and just give them one controller and leave the other one laying there so they can just piss pound a fucking non-moving opponent. That's essentially what we saw.
Look at the stats there.
I'm going to pull them up on my computer so I can actually read them.
132 to 19 in strikes.
Listen. And they probably granted Lauren like 10 extra landed strikes just so it wouldn't look so terrible. Because I didn't see no 19 strikes landing throughout the 20 some odd minutes that this fight lasted.
And
they helped her. If there was a brush of wind that came off of her fist as that counted as a strike.
Now, dude, Lauren's speed, significant. One thing that was like so noticeable was the speed difference between Lauren and Valentina.
It would freeze her.
Valentina is lightning fast, yes, but Lauren Murphy looked like she was like moving in slow motion the whole fight.
I wish you could put up that screenshot.
Here's the thing, you know what it is? Valentina is a lightning strike. Murphy is the thunder that comes afterwards. You can actually count.
Before it hits you?
Oh, she's 6 miles away when she started that swing. It took about fucking 6 miles worth of time for her to fucking swing. Dude, I'm telling you, before this fight, you could watch Lauren Murphy's fights. She moves too slow. She's very slow. I don't doubt that she's tough. That's why she is where she is. But she's like a grinder. You know what I mean? She's got a couple of TKOs that came in like a third round because the other girl was fucking dying and she just happened to be there and still grinding out because she's a tough chick. She is not even close to being fast enough to ever win against Shevchenko. I think Jessica Andraj would beat the shit out of her. Like, just beat the ever living shit out of her. That would be a
fun fight to see. And first off, like, I found out Jessica Andraj has an OnlyFans. That's fucking disgusting.
Oh, dude, no. Did you guys hear what she said?
She makes a lot of money, though. So
she paid off her house. I'm like, who's the sick fuckers that are subscribing to that shit?
Good for her.
No, she said that she paid off her truck and 7 months of rent in Vegas with her OnlyFans.
Good for her.
That is fucking disgusting.
You
know what? She worked her fucking ass off, and she kicks ass, and she deserves to fucking pay her house off for giving us the fucking kind of entertainment that she does, and not being. I'm not trying to be mean, but to me, in my opinion, not the most beautiful looking girl or whatever. At least, you know what I mean. And so good for her. Good for her.
I used to work with a little old lesbian at a hotel that looks identical to her. Like, it looks like it could be her mother.
No, man. She's a badass, and she fucking does she look like a 14-year-old Brazilian boy? Sure, but she's also fucking tough as fuck, and she probably should fight Valentina next, or move back down to 115, like she's asking to.
Joe Ivy says she'd do her. Joe, Jessica would slap you around the bedroom like circa 1950. Fucking
Well,
put you
scissor
in.
me timbers.
You should call her Jeffica Andraj.
Jeff.
There's actually Jeffrica. Remember Jeffrica? Anyways.
All right. Hey, let's talk about the fight that everybody wanted to see. 6 years in the making. Oh, well, 6 years absent from the sport. He came back. He did not look good. He did throw a fucking wild amount of strikes in 2.5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Diaz, in my opinion, I'll just tell you guys my opinion right quick, and then I'll let you guys talk. I think he was selling wolf tickets with his fucking social media in the past couple months, looking like he's shredded out of
We
his
got
fucking...
catfished. We got fucking catfished, bro.
We got catfished. Wolf tickets, in the words of the Diaz brothers themselves. He was posting fucking videos and pictures of him shredded out of his fucking mind. He came in there. He came in there. He looked 4 days before the fight. He asked for it to be middleweight instead of welterweight.
Wrong.
What?
Robbie Lawler knew a week before the fight. He was, I can't remember the media outlet he was with, but he was saying that he knew this Saturday before.
Okay,
it was just made public to us 4 days before.
4 days before. Either way, 4 days before it was made public that he asked for it to be middleweight. He came in, he looked like a dumpy fucking chubby middleweight. And in the fight, in the first 30 seconds of that fight, I was like, oh my God, he looks terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And then he started opening up with the striking. And my God, I got to fucking tell you, man, the amount that he was fucking throwing blew my mind. What do you guys think?
I got a question for Mike. Mike, who do you think was more disappointed on Sunday morning? Nick Diaz fans or Amy?
Explain.
The fuck does that have to do with anything, Ben? You little fucking non-drag queen little bitch right now.
Who was more disappointed on Sunday morning? Nick Diaz fans because of that fight or Amy? It's my question. Put it up on Twitter in a poll.
I have to admit, Amy would be sleeping for about 3 hours before Kyle even went to bed on fucking Saturday night. I already know because I go over there all the time. She tries to hang. She can't hang. Being Kyle, she can't hang with us. She's sleeping. So the disappointment might lie in her dreams. But here's the thing.
So now on top of me going to wait. On top of me going to a Cage Wars fucking event and seeing this little midget down here dressed in fucking drag,
where's his face?
I have to
see that beautiful face.
Beat him up now. I have to beat his ass. You're talking about my fucking wife? Is that what I have to do now, Ben?
I mean,
good
how
Lord,
much do you weigh?
You better look good
how
in
much
that
do you
fucking
weigh?
drag. You better put that lipstick on thick, bitch.
How much do you weigh?
210 pounds. What do you weigh?
Thick Mish over here. 160.
150.
160.
Oh my God.
Thick Mish.
Meet in the middle at 190.
Stop trying to fucking beef yourself up. You're 145 all day.
I would have to, if I wanted to meet you at 190, I'd have to weigh in with a brick in each pocket. I am a skinny, fat, 160-pound, pear-shaped man, and you love me.
All right. So
anyways, go ahead, Mike.
Robbie Lawler.
Tell him how wrong he is.
Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler. I liked watching the fight, and I'm going to have to say that the entire UFC fan base was biased. That's what I'm going to say, because we all wanted to see them both fight. They fought 17 years ago. We love them both. They're both fucking heroes in our eyes in the world of fucking combat sports. But here's the real fucking meat and potatoes, right? That fight wasn't as good as it looked like it was. Okay. They both went at each other. They beat the shit out of each other. But really, did they beat the shit out of each other? Nick Diaz was throwing pitter-patter shots. None of them really fucking did shit. He barely was fucking putting any energy in anything. He did throw a ton of shots like this.
That's what I'm
You know,
saying.
I can do this shit all fucking night, okay? And I don't even need to practice. And I get it. He beat the shit out of me. Wonderful. Next question. Here's the thing. Robbie Lawler looked awful to me.
Really?
Nick Diaz looked even fucking worse. Both of those guys against probably anybody on the card would have gotten their ass kicked that night. Robbie Lawler in the first round, I was so disappointed. I was like, does this guy even know that that Nick Diaz has a body? Why don't you hit him in the body? The guy's got his hands way up on his head. He fucking barely throw any body shots. Fucking Nick Diaz has got his hands like this. Robbie Lawler's going like this. He looked like fucking Richard Karsten. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's just fucking going like this 8,000 times. Just fucking pitter-patter. Dude, it was a disaster. If you go back and watch it, it was exciting because they were throwing a lot of shots, but they sucked. They sucked. They look like shit, both of them.
Have you watched it again?
Yes. I watched it today. They both look like shit. Horrible.
I didn't feel that way about Robbie.
I know.
Robbie looked awful.
In the water in that hotel room.
Horrible defense.
I didn't feel that way about Robbie at all.
If Robbie fought anybody else in his division, he would have been knocked out that night.
Well,
Robbie
he's on his way
Lawler,
out. Those were all killers. Like,
Yeah. Robbie Lawler has been around for 20 years. Yes.
Yeah.
And
his defense was horrible.
Somebody tag Brandon Quigley, get him in here to throw a fit over this because he will.
Dude, his defense was awful.
He barely got hit.
He got hit like a billion times. What do you mean?
Like he got hit 109 times out of 344
3 rounds.
Mike, we're gonna have to ask you to collect your things and go.
Mike, he landed 80% of his shots that he threw at Nick.
I said his defense was horrible.
Yeah. So he got hit with
his offense.
A third. So Nick Diaz threw 344 strikes.
His offense was terrible, but he dodged 2 fucking thirds of his strikes.
Two-thirds
go watch that fight.
Didn't touch him.
The strikes were awful, though.
Yeah.
Look at the fucking fight. They were horrible.
They were pitter-patter shots. You said
they were pitter-patter, horrible shots.
How do you know that he wasn't just letting him fucking throw them pitter-patter shots?
The official stats on the UFC's website says that Nick Diaz landed 150 out of 339 total strikes for a 44% clip.
Yeah.
Whereas Robbie was 131 for 221 at a 59%.
It was awful.
No, I disagree. So
it was horrible. They were horrible, both of them.
I've watched it twice. I did not think that at all.
You think if they fought anybody else that would be as good as that fight was?
Robbie also threw 33 shots to the body. Your entire argument is invalid.
If either one of them fought anyone besides the person they were fighting that night, you think they would have made it past the fucking first round? I don't think so.
You have lost all credibility on this fight.
No way, man. They're fucking awful that night, both of them. Awful. God. It was exciting because they were fighting each other.
I will agree to disagree.
They look like 2 old men in the ring fighting each other.
They were 2 old men in the ring.
They both need to fucking stop fighting.
I was going to say, like,
they're not that old, man.
He's my age.
Here's the thing. How old was DC?
Years old.
All right. How old was DC when he won the title?
That's heavyweight. Totally different story.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
So 41 doesn't matter if you're a heavyweight and you got more weight to carry around?
Mike, the youngest guy in the entire heavyweight division is Curtis Blades at 30 years old.
They both look like shit.
No.
Yes.
Mike.
Horrible.
Oh, my God.
Horrible.
Oh, my God.
Nick Diaz
Ben
went down and didn't get back up.
And then tried to
on a show blame it on his knee.
Every time I do a show,
I think you guys are just so in love with both of them because that they're who they are, that you guys don't want to admit that they don't look that great anymore. It's the fucking truth, man.
Robbie looked the best in this fight than he has in a long time.
Because he was fighting a Nick Diaz.
I understand.
That
this
was
is actually
not
his first finish. This is Robbie Lawler's first finish since he fought Rory McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So, like, he looked good because he was
Nick
fighting
Diaz.
somebody who wasn't. But like you
Who
can't say
wasn't,
that
right? That's my
that
point.
wasn't a good. Like that still doesn't mean it wasn't a good performance.
It didn't mean he looked bad.
Has your
did
doctor
not
changed
look
your
bad.
medications recently? Did you
He
take
did
a
not look
large
good.
hit to the head?
You
going on
just
with
proved my point because you said he looked good against someone who was fighting bad.
your point was that
says
they
the whole
both
thing.
looked bad.
That didn't mean he looked bad.
You were saying that they both looked bad, and
They
now you're
did.
saying that I proved your
He
point by
looked
saying
good.
Robbie looked good. So like,
Yeah,
The
you're
fuck,
saying Robbie
Robbie?
looked good. I don't think he looked good.
you just said that me saying that proved your
All
point.
right,
So which
if I
is it?
beat someone up and you
Dude,
said, "Wow,
this
the person you
motherfucker's
beat
like
up
John
was
Kerry
horrible,"
from 2004 election. Like, what is going on with this guy?
hold on. If I fought somebody and you said, "Wow, that guy was horrible," and you beat the shit out of him, I mean, that was great. It's like, but I mean, how good am I? Because I beat somebody who looked horrible.
So,
like,
Mike, are you saying that if you went out there, looked great, and beat the shit out of some fucking schlub,
yes,
we would say that you looked bad?
yes,
You're an idiot.
Yeah, we're gonna have to like. Oh, I'm
Yes.
taking sabbatical. We're just gonna clocking out.
That doesn't make any sense.
So you think Robbie Lawler looked good?
I didn't say he didn't look good. I said he didn't look bad. He looked
No,
fucking better
he
than
looked good
has
in that
years.
performance. That was
Yes,
his
he
best
did.
performance in a while.
Okay,
And I understand.
I
like,
disagree. I disagree. I don't think he looked good at all.
Find me one of his recent fights that he looked better in. Thank you. I hear crickets. That is my point. Case in point.
Because he's been looking horrible. He took 3 rounds to take out a guy that
would
fucking
you agree
wasn't
with
doing
me?
good.
True or false? This was his best performance in a long time.
See, look at Joe Ivy. They both look awful. They
Joe
look
was also
horrible,
casual.
guys.
Prove me wrong.
Come on. They both didn't look good. I
I'm
agree
gonna tell you
to
right now.
disagree. They think they both
I'm
look
going to tell you
bad.
right now that when I watched it that night and when I watched it the second time, I did not at all think Robbie looked awful. No way.
Against Nick Diaz, who looked
Who
awful.
gives a fuck who he's fighting? He didn't.
That's
look
what it
bad.
matters. That's what
he
matters.
didn't look bad.
He's fighting a
didn't
guy
look
that's
bad.
not fighting
Mike,
him back
Mike,
well. You
Mike,
know what I mean?
It doesn't
like
matter
it was
who
like
he's
a
fighting.
gimme.
It doesn't matter who he's fighting. He
It
didn't
does
look
matter.
bad.
Daddy took his
didn't look
belt
bad.
off now, Mike.
No,
You're in
it
trouble.
does matter.
Like
It's like
Oh my
fighting
God,
an
that doesn't
amateur
make any
or
sense.
fighting a pro.
That doesn't make any sense. That
It
doesn't
does make
any
sense.
belts out.
All right. It makes sense.
misbehaving.
You're fighting somebody who's not fighting well and you're doing good. Okay, you're doing good for that
So he looked
fight.
bad.
Good performance.
So you're saying he looked good for that fight against
So
Nick
you're
Diaz.
saying that he looked good, but it was against somebody who's bad, so he doesn't look good.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
stupid.
When compared to
That's
the rest of the division, he looks
That's
horrible. No, it's not.
He wasn't
If he
fighting
fought the
of
rest of the division, he
He
would look
wasn't fighting the
horrible.
rest of the division. He was fighting in the opponent in the.
He
fucking
looked
ring
good against the
that night.
shitty Nick Diaz.
And he looked
So
good.
comparatively to the rest of the division, he looked like shit. That's my point.
He wasn't fighting the rest of the division. He was fighting the guy in front of him. So
He looked
all he had to do was look good against the guy in the cage with him that night, which
Yes.
he did. Which he
Okay,
did.
He beat the guy
Which
that he
he
was in the
did.
ring with,
He
but
looked
he's
good.
not going anywhere in the division. It gives him no clout. It
He's
doesn't
not
bring him
fighting
any
the rest of
higher
the
in the
division right now,
division.
Mike. He's not fighting the rest of the division right now, Mike. He's
But-
fighting the guy in the cage with him that night.
What's the
And he
point of
looked
winning a
good.
fight?
to make some
To
goddamn
make
money.
fucking money and move on to the next one.
And move on
But
to the
he's
next
not-
one. But
he's
move
not
up or
fighting the
backwards.
next. Is he fighting the next one?
I'm asking,
No.
where's he going after this
Is he
fight?
fighting the next one? No.
Yes,
he's
he
fighting
will
the guy
be.
in the cage that night.
I know,
He
but
did what he
after
had to
this
do
fight,
that night, and he looked good
Hey,
that night.
I'm not going to agree with you. So it doesn't matter. You guys aren't going to talk me out of it. He looked horrible.
Well, that's like trying to explain. Of course, you're not going to agree with us. You can't talk a psychotic fucking stance out of somebody. Like,
I don't think it's psychotic. I don't think he looked good.
I think you were just essentially speaking gibberish for.
I thought
the
it was
last,
an
15 minutes of the
entertaining
show.
fight. I enjoyed watching it, but when you see how well he was doing against Diaz, who wasn't
Mike.
doing great at all,
Mike.
I say he didn't do great because if Diaz was doing any better, he would have lost the fight. I mean, it wasn't.
Mike.
If Diaz kept fighting, he probably would have lost that fight. He was doing
Robbie
not
Lawler,
good.
Mike. Robbie Lawler is on his last leg. So
Yes,
when
he
you
is.
say when you say his next fight, he's 38 years old.
Mhm.
And he hasn't looked good in a while. They threw him in a fight with a guy who hasn't fought in 6 years just to fucking sell a fight. It was the
Right.
Lawler.
So you agree
And
that
he
he's not
looked
fucking that good anymore.
in it.
I will agree
They
with you
weren't.
that
No. They weren't talking about his next 2 or 3 fights. Robbie probably might not have.
I am though.
he might not fight again.
Why
though.
are
That's
you
the thing.
talking
He's-
about Robbie Lawler
Yeah,
fighting 2 or 3
You're
more
acting
fights
like
at
he's going to
38
do a
years old?
title run here, homie. Like he's
No,
gonna
I'm
fight
not.
one
I'm
or two
saying-
more
He's a
times
legacy
and shit
fighter.
out.
I'm saying he did not look that great.
He is a
That's what I'm
legacy
saying.
fighter. He's a 38-year-old fucking man who has had a great career.
I hear a
who
lot of
they
excuses here.
No, they threw in
I do.
No, you're full of shit. You are
There's a
so
lot of
full
excuses coming out here.
No, I'm trying
He's
to make
old,
sense
he's
to you.
this, he's
Kyle,
that.
you let this guy on your show.
I
Like,
get what
is-
you're saying.
like,
He won
I'm
the
trying
fight,
to make
so he
sense
looked good
to
against
you
Nick
because
Diaz.
you are not seeing the fucking big picture. Dude, he doesn't
No,
have
you
much
guys
left.
aren't seeing the big picture. You're seeing just the fight.
Mike, you're talking about how is he going to look in his next 2 or 3 fights. He don't have 2 or 3 fights left.
He didn't
don't.
look good.
He
did
don't
not look good.
He looked good for a 38-year-old man fighting a 30-fucking-8-year-old
Joe,
man
okay,
who
moving on.
looked like shit.
You're never
Rob-
going to talk me out of it. He did not look good, period. I don't believe it. You don't. You
how did
guys
Nick
are
Diaz
one way.
look?
Look at, we
How
got
did
3
Nick look?
judges. We got 3 judges here,
How did Nick look?
and one of them is voting the other way.
I can't even believe this.
And I think Nick Diaz didn't look good.
Nick didn't look good. That's the
He
first
didn't.
smart thing you've said in the last half an hour.
So Nick didn't look good, and then a not looking good Robbie Lawler was just a little bit better than him that night.
Robbie looked good.
Okay, he got caught with tons of shots.
Maybe
in
Robbie
3
looked
rounds.
so
Tons.
good that it made Nick look super bad.
I don't think so.
No?
He was getting
Ben?
pieced up by the slowest, fucking stupidest little shots, and I couldn't believe it.
Pitter patter
I
shots.
actually thought he was gonna lose in the
pitter
beginning.
patter
of the fight. I was like,
shots. That do
how
no
is he gonna
damage.
fucking be hit this many times in the first round? Like he was getting
Pitter-patter
fucking
shots.
slaughtered in the beginning.
You mean the pitter patter shots that you were talking about that do no damage?
Yes.
So you're over here saying that Nick Diaz's shots were pitter patter garbage ass shots. So
Yes.
Robbie couldn't walk through them and just land the fucking 150 that he landed.
They both did. They both landed 150.
Yo, am I having a stroke right now? Kyle? Like, is he saying the shit that like you have just ran in like 14 different circles?
No,
Mike.
I'm saying Nick Diaz did not look good. Robbie Lawler did not look good. They both were shitty against each other, and Robbie Lawler came out on top. That's how it's what happened. They just beat the fuck out of each other's faces and didn't look that great. So
Robbie's face was untouched after the fight.
yeah, because he was getting hit with 150 stupid fucking pitter-patter shots. Like I
Mike.
said,
Mike,
Bless his heart.
let's move on to the next one.
Bless your heart, Mike.
I don't know why you guys even trying to talk me out of this. I
Bless your
believe
heart.
that he didn't look good.
God bless you.
so hey, let's all pay attention to when Robbie Lawler goes on his title run now.
I know,
because
like
Mike
he's
thinks-
gonna fight somebody like
Mike thinks
fucking
He's
he
not
has a
going
good-
on no
Matt
title
Brown
run.
No,
next.
Mike.
He's not
Mike
fucking-
thought that he was fighting for a eventual title run. Apparently,
You guys are saying he looked good, so
he did look
Robbie
good
Lawler
against Nick
versus
Diaz.
Kamaru
he
Usman.
looked fantastic.
UFC 267.
He did really good.
All right, what are
Bless
we
his
talking
heart.
about next?
I don't
What are
know.
we talking about next?
Like-
Jessica Andraj. Let's talk about Jessica Andraj. Let's skip Curtis Blades because I don't even want to fucking talk about him right now.
Why not?
Because he fucking is.
He
the
didn't
most
look good. He
boring-
won.
No, he's the most boring fighter on the roster.
Yeah,
He
but
won.
here's my question, and like I
But
don't
he
mean to start
won.
another one of these.
Oh,
That's what
are
I'm
you-
saying.
What are you trying, Mike? Are you trying to say that Robbie Lawler's boring now?
But
Are
he
you gonna-
won. No, that fight
my
was way
God.
better than this fight sucked.
Mike, what are you
Okay.
trying to fucking say right now?
I'm
dude?
saying he won.
That's a stupid. That's not even
That's
comparative.
the point you
fucking
guys were
idiot.
making before.
No,
He
it's not.
dominated the fight and he won.
No, it's not. That is not even close. What the fuck
All right.
we were saying?
Anyways, the Rosenstruck fight sucked. Horrible.
My-
And I don't
my
know why you
point
guys
to
are getting
that
all in
is-
your fucking feelings. Stop being babies and fucking move on. Jesus Christ, I'm not changing my mind.
What I was
Ben,
gonna
talk.
say is that with the Curtis Blades fight, everybody's bitching that it's boring. But what's wrong with doing what it takes to win a fight? Like at
No,
the end
it's
of the day, they
fine.
don't
No,
they don't
no.
give a shit. Like they just want that win
Listen,
bonus too. It's a
listen,
double for
dude.
the paycheck.
I have nothing against what Curtis Blades did because I was a fucking wrestler in my day, and I get what it takes. I get that wrestling someone and dominating someone on the floor is fine, whatever. But I do in a event that was so full of fucking action-packed fights all the way up until then. I was so excited after the Dan Hooker, Dualis Wheelie, fucking the Jessica Andraj fights. It was back to back to back. The Jalen Turner. There was so many good fights. Bam, 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 bam. For a dude to just go wrestle fuck somebody to death to win the fight, fine. He won it, but it was like really a fucking downer at that point in the night. That's my whole thing. And whatever. I mean, if that's what he's got to do to win, but if that's what he's got to do to win, it's fine. But if he's going to come out after doing that and beating Rosenstruck like that, and then call out the winner of Ngannou and Cyril Gane, or John Jones, or Stipe Miocic, those fucking three things is what he called out. There's not a fucking chance in hell that McMaynard or fucking Dana White or anybody in that organization is going to watch him do what he did to Jardinho Rosenstruck and then fucking give him any of those three. No fucking way.
I don't know, man. I think they're going to pair him up with Chris Daukaus next.
I would like that.
I would love to see that. I think that's a really interesting fight. They're both coming off wins here. It makes sense rankings wise. Right now, Curtis Blades at number 4, and Chris Daukaus just beat the number 7 ranked guy. Mike's on a roll of stupidity, so he's probably going to say put him up with like Joanna Jędrzejczyk next. Who knows?
I don't think so.
What's up next? What's next for Blades, Mike?
Nothing. He's boring. He's already been beaten by all the top guys. Nobody wants to see him fight for the title. He's boring.
So then why not give him a prospect or a contender now in Chris Daukaus, who
Daukaus is a great one. I like that a lot.
That's what I mean. Like that's a great fight.
And you know what? You know why they're not going to do it? Because he'll beat Daukaus. That's why. They'll fucking kill Daukaus' streak. They'll never give him to Daukaus. Daukaus is they're trying to push him up the ranks. If he fights Blades, he loses. Blades will take him down and hold him down. And he'll fucking end up losing, and then he'll kill his fucking streak.
Chris Daukaus has the ability to get off the ground with him, I think.
He does.
I really believe that. You look at other guys that they were trying to bring up, like Justin Willis. They gave him to Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades knocked his fucking head off, sent him to PFL where he'd lose, and then we haven't heard of that motherfucker since. So I don't think the UFC has a problem matching him up with, guys that are on the way up. And I think that'll probably be one of the next fights we see out of Chris Daukaus. I mean, the guy knocked out Abdurakhimov on his 30th birthday. How the fuck is that for a happy birthday present? Here, I got you a nap.
He wasn't the only birthday person.
There was like 3 of them. Wasn't there?
Jessica Andraj. Andraj, which we got to talk about. Jessica Andraj. She looked fucking great against Cynthia Cavallo, and then called out not a 125er. She called out the 115ers, which kind of surprised me. She said, I want either Rose or Weili Zhang. So what'd you guys think about that?
We've seen that she can fight and win and get finishes across 3 of the 4 women's divisions, the only 3 that are established. I think it makes sense. You know what I mean? She can fight in any class. Why not call out anybody and everybody? You'll land to fight that way.
Yeah.
Make them all high-profile names. You'll get one of them, hopefully.
She was dominant against fucking Cavallo. She outstruck her. She basically owned the cage the entire time. And then came out pretty much unscathed. So, I mean, Mike, what'd you think?
I think she's
It doesn't matter what you think. You fucking jabroni.
I think she needs to go back to 115 because she's got no shot at 125. But she might have a shot at 115 at this point. But the question is, who does she fight at 115?
The thing is about her is like, she should go back to 115, but she really is the only one that poses any kind of threat to Valentina. She, like, you look at that 125. Who? Oh, Lauren Murphy?
No, I'm not really at any. I really don't think I have the expertise to talk about who can be beating Valentina anymore. I think I lost that right. But
Talk
I think-
about a casual.
I think
Jesus
if
Christ.
anybody out there right now in that division stands a chance, I think it's somebody like Miranda Maverick after, paying her dues and developing some more of her skills. I think that's the best bet right now.
All right, but that's too far away.
And that's 125.
We're talking about
Miranda Maverick, though. Miranda Maverick is probably 3 fights away from a title fight, right?
Do you think that
I'd like to see four more before she, you know what I mean? I don't know if that would be bringing her up too quick.
Yes, I would love to see Miranda Maverick make her way to a Valentina shot. Yes, but that's a long distance down the road. With the present near future top 10 125ers, the only one that poses any kind of threat to Valentina is is Jessica Andraj, right? That's the only one.
No, because Jessica got fucking handled. There's no threat there.
She has the tools, though. That's what I'm saying. You're proving my point, though. Valentina Shevchenko is the best fucking female fighter in the world, and that whole division is wiped. She's wiped them all out. So the only one out of all the ones that she has wiped out that has the tools in their toolbox to possibly get their grips on her, pick her up, slam her on her fucking head, or do something dangerous would be her. Other than her, there's nobody else. That's why she needs to fight Amanda Nunes.
I mean, I don't get why everybody's got this hard on for the Nunes fight. I mean,
because she beat her in the second one.
Really?
Yes.
Can you pull that up for me?
Well, history would say she lost.
Exactly. That's the result that matters. Did she catch her win bonus that night?
Ben, come on, dude. Watch that fucking fight 10 times in a row and tell me that Amanda Nunes
I agree that the decision was wrong.
That's why the trilogy needs to happen.
Yes.
I don't think we see it because why would they want to?
Hey, and also, Ben, in the first fight that they were fighting, if it was more than a three-round fight, Valentina was handling Amanda Nunes in that third round, whooping her fucking ass in that third round.
And Nate Diaz turns up in round 4. Yep.
If there was a 4th and a 5th round, who knows what would have happened? So if there
was a 6th and a 7th round against Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz.
I'm doing a fucking show with a couple fucking morons tonight.
Hey, you can't. Hey, look, there'd be no show if everybody agreed with each other. I'm gonna
make it all worth it. At the end of the show, I've got a fight announcement for everybody, title fight announcement too. So don't worry.
When arbitrarily disagreeing on shit just to fucking for the sake of disagreeing is one thing, but when it's actual facts, like you can look with your own fucking 2020 vision, which Ben obviously doesn't. Because
I was gonna say, who the fuck are you talking
glasses
to?
on your face, you got fucking Coke bottles on your face. But even with the binoculars that you got on, you could have saw that Amanda Nunes lost that second fight, and she was getting her fucking ass handed to her in the third round of the first fight. So yes, they should make that fucking third fight, and tell me they shouldn't.
And make it 5 rounds.
Let me explain this to you from a business standpoint, because that's why it's not going to, if it's not going to happen, it's going to be because they don't want to fucking, you know what I mean? Like the same reason we didn't get GSP and Anderson Silva, 2 great champions that could have fought, but if one beats the other, it's going to fucking, one of their guys is going to lose their shine. If it was going to be like a one-off.
It gets to a point when each champion has washed their division so much that it doesn't make any fucking sense to have them fight anybody else except for them 2.
Then they'll find another warm body like they've been doing for Nunes with their 145 title. I know it's stupid, man, but if it makes dollars, it makes sense. And
it doesn't make dollars or sense because neither one of those can sell a fucking pay-per-view.
They can sell enough to where it's better long-term to not have them fight each other. The fight would do a good pay-per-view number, but that's a one-and-done situation. They won't book Nunes and Valentina again until they know that it's going to be one of the other one's last fight, because then they can have that person potentially lose and ride off into the sunset and not have their fucking ability to sell them in a pay-per-view down the road as the baddest woman out there be fucking damaged. So I don't think they're going to book that fight for a very long time, if at all.
If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. When was the last time Valentina Shevchenko main evented a pay-per-view and sold pay-per-views or in the same?
She's a strong co-headliner.
Yes.
And that's exactly, they're going to make more
Supporting
money
cast.
off of her as a strong co-headliner in the long run than they would off of a one night
I wouldn't
her versus
I wouldn't
Nunes.
even put Valentina versus Nunes 3 in the fucking main event. It'd be a co-main.
Either way, that's still not the long-term investment in growing these two in their own divisions and not having them fight a third time brings in more money than having them fight. I would, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd buy the pay-per-view. I'd have a fun time watching the fight, but
Okay, so who does Valentina fight next?
they're going to feed her another warm body. Same with Nunes.
Give me
That's
a
what they've
fucking
been
name,
doing.
Ben. Give me a name, Ben.
Kyle Mish. She's going
Give
to
me a
whoop
name,
your
Ben.
ass up and down the boardwalk.
Give me a name, Ben.
All right, let's see.
Give me a name.
What do we have for
Ben,
fights coming up at
Give
125?
me a fucking name.
There's nobody
Give me a
in
name.
the top
Ben.
10 that she hasn't beaten or just didn't fight because
She's
they've
beaten
lost.
every single fucking one of them. Give me a name. Go ahead.
As of right now,
Valentina
I think,
Shevchenko versus who?
you know
All right,
what? I bet you
real-
there's a better chance that whoever wins the 115-pound title goes up to fight her next versus the other way around for her fight.
Rose Namajunas never will because she's a little pussy. Dude, she's scared of everything.
Well, then
she's
Wei Li
scared of-
Zhang will take her head
Wei-
off in December, and then she'll fight.
Whaley would get fucking killed by Valentina. They would never make that
I
fight.
feel like she could put up a competitive first round, but after Valentina got through the first round, she'd be able to make the adjustments and just mollywop her for the rest of the fight.
Nope.
Shevchenko has beaten in her last, so many fights. She's beaten Murphy, Andraj, Maya, Chutkagian, Carmouche, Jessica I, Joanna Jacek, let's say Nunes for the second fight. Nunes, but not really. Juliana Pena, Holly Holm, Sarah Kaufman, everybody. And in her division,
Yep. And Valentina beat
Andraj,
who is about
Chutkagian,
to
Murphy,
fight
Maya,
Nunes.
Calvillo, Calderwood, Modafferi. Like every single person has either lost or she's beaten them in the top 10, even in the top 15, really. I mean, there's nobody. She's got no one. It's a fucking ghost town.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's going to be either sitting on the shelf for a while, but I don't think they're going to make the Nunes fight because it ruins one of their stars, quote unquote stars. I mean, it's a fun fight. You know what I mean? I'm with you. It'd be great to see that third fight happen,
Hold
but
on.
from a
How does
business
how
standpoint,
does it ruin a star?
because if one of them's got to lose, like it's not going to come out a draw. Statistically, that's not going to fucking happen. Whoever loses a little bit of their shine. It makes it harder to sell them when you're already having a hard time putting them as a main event.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I feel like
Think of it like a matchmaker.
as much as I
I'm thinking
want to
of
see
it
them
like a
fight each
matchmaker.
other, I can't. Like, if one of them do lose, yes, it does take away from some of their shine.
And that is exactly. And like
It does
you
take
need
away
to-
from the shine because if one of them loses, like, oh, Amanda Nunes is the best ever, but she lost to the 125-pound champion and she fights at 135 and 145.
Thank
What? You lost against a
It
125, but you're
no,
135
it
pound?
only
What?
loses shine for Amanda Nunes.
Right, but then
She's
they
the
can't
only
sell
one that
those
loses shine.
two weight classes. Then they're like, hey, the
it doesn't
champion.
take anything away from Valentina Shevchenko at all. At all.
If
Unless
she loses,
well,
yeah, if Valentina loses the fight, then it's like, oh well, fuck, she got beat up by a bigger girl that already beat her
Right.
twice on paper.
Right.
I get that.
But
so
if she
maybe
wins-
it's more
Take
towards the
anything away
Nunes
from her.
sides of things. You know what I mean? Maybe it goes more towards the Nunes side of things that they wouldn't. But you need to think of it like a matchmaker. Like put yourself in that, and not like I don't know. I don't want to get into it too much more because
I love
like
Kyle. Look at Kyle.
he's just gonna sit there and throw his fit. Like
Look at his face. I love it.
No, it
Get over here.
doesn't-
Let me give you I want to just squeeze
Mike.
your cheeks and give you
Hold
the
on.
fucking
Ben,
Italian.
Ben,
Go like this, like
Ben,
this. Come here.
Ben,
Little
you're telling me
Italian
to
kiss.
Think of it like a matchmaker. Mike just broke it down for you perfectly. There is nobody from 1 to 15
I
in the
understand that.
100. Stop. 1 to 15 in the 125-pound division that can even sniff fucking Valentina Shevchenko. So, as the UFC matchmaker, I look at it and say there is nothing else that makes sense but for her to fucking fight the 135-pound champion
until it diminishes one of your reigning champions. So what they'll do
nothing else
is they will book her against a nobody like Araujo, who really, like you said, doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. But hey,
so wait. So you're telling me that you're putting yourself in a matchmaker's fucking state of mind right now?
I'm putting myself, in the matchmaker's state of mind.
How does that make sense?
Because you're not diminishing one of your two champions in a fight just to sell a couple of pay-per-views when, like I said, the long-term investment for booking these guys how you have been. Like, look what they did with Cyborg, and look what they've been doing to Amanda at 145. They're like, hey, you want a one-fight contract? You're a warm body who did okay in Invicta. Let's get you fucked up. If that's the route they've got to take, they'll take that route. We've seen them do it before. I'm sure they'd do it again for Valentina. Fuck, they did for Demetrius Johnson. They did a whole goddamn season of The Ultimate Fighter. What makes you think they wouldn't do that again? They're going to.
You're saying that makes sense. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm saying that they're going to figure out a way not to diminish one of their champions and keep their long-term investments in both of these fighters who they know that they can sell as strong co-headliners.
Fair enough.
And they had Amanda Nunes main event an International Fight Week. Granted, it was another John Jones Coke bust type of deal that put her there. But she did main event a UFC International Fight Week.
I thought we were talking about what should we do with the fucking girl, not what should be done that makes no fucking sense just to keep the fucking
You
ball
asked
rolling.
me, well, it's about not diminishing your champion or the other champion.
No, I didn't say that. I said, what do you do next with Valentina? What makes sense?
I told you, you either find her a warm body from Invicta that's like you take their 125 champions, sign them. You can do that. You can hold like a small 4-fight tournament or 4-fighter tournament.
You have said warm body 70 fucking times on this
Exactly.
podcast.
Because
you love that
that's who they're going to feed to her. Somebody that has a pulse. Like they did with Nunes at 145, like they did with Cyborg. Because it's better than they just kind of got sick of Cyborg and we're like, whatever, we'll put this fight together.
See how good that fucking worked out for the 145 division?
Yeah, nothing worked out for the 145 division. They wanted Cyborg. They made a long-term investment until the well dried up with her, and then they fucking put her against somebody that they knew would diminish her, and sent the bitch back to Bellator.
Well, once again, we have come to no conclusion on another fucking argument because you guys are fucking retarded.
You don't need to come to a conclusion.
No, you need to take I'm going to try to get you in so you can match make for us for one card because I want you to understand
how would I match make on your card when I know none of the fighters?
There you go.
How would I know that? How would I do that?
Exactly.
But I can tell you what I have done, and I've watched every single UFC pay-per-view and event for the last fucking 20 years, and I can tell you what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And for Valentina
from a fan
Shevchenko,
standpoint,
not
from somebody that's got to sell tickets and pay-per-views.
Even from a business standpoint, right now, it doesn't make any sense for her to fight anybody outside of the top fucking 15, and that's all they would have an option to do.
So then they're going to pull together a season of the, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different options, but I don't think that Nunes and Shevchenko is as likely as them pulling somebody who's what is Araujo ranked at flyweight? Does somebody have that right in front of them?
It's probably
she is ranked number
something.
7. She's ranked number 7. So give her a fight. You know what I mean? Her versus somebody up towards the top 5. And if they've got it, they're not shy of doing rematches either. They might feed her somebody they've already fed her. But I doubt we see the Nunes fight.
Let's just put Calderwood in there, and she'll.
Right, I can't wait to see her fight fucking Caitlin Chukagian again, fucking any of them.
I agree with you. There's not as much excitement around. Let's have her fuck up somebody else again.
Don't they have to keep the fans interested?
I mean.
It's a toughie. Here's the thing.
That's what I mean.
There's no good answer.
Interested. The fans are not going to be interested in another fucking fight other than a Nunes trilogy.
And Mike, you're wrong. There's a bunch of good answers here, but each one of them has a butt that goes to it. Like I said, there's that Ultimate Fighter idea. They use that with Demetrius Johnson. That's how they got the flyweight weight class established. So why not do it again? Would you say that Valentina is more dominant as a champion than Demetrius Johnson was?
Yes.
So then why the fuck not do an Ultimate Fighter season?
She's
Get the
way
best-
more dominant,
You know what I mean?
actually.
Get all the best
this point.
champions from Invicta and all the other fucking hot regional promotions. Get hit up
Or
Titan,
maybe
hit up the
equal.
guys in the Middle East. Get all their women champions and fucking throw them together for a season of the Ultimate Fighter and put coaches like fucking Nama Nunes and Wei Li Zhang or somebody that's in a title fight picture in a separate weight class. They could really dress this up and do a great season of the Ultimate Fighter with it. And you know what I mean? If it makes dollars, it makes sense.
Well,
all right. I'm done talking about Valentina Shevchenko. So, anyways, we've been talking for an hour now. No, because we're not gonna fucking.
We gotta move on. We gotta keep the show moving.
We're not gonna come to an agreement.
We made
on that
you
one.
tap
There's
out.
no agreement.
No,
we don't need
because
to come to an
I'm not
agreement.
going to
That's
agree
the
with you
best
on this.
part.
I am not going to agree with you on this because, yeah,
I'm not
sure.
even disagreeing with you, though. I would love to see that third fight. But you got to look at it from the fact that they want to try to sell tickets and pay-per-views from both of these fighters.
And you don't think that would sell the most tickets and pay-per-views
I do.
that either one of those fighters have ever sold?
I
ever?
do. I think that would sell
So
more
what the fuck?
pay-per-views long-term.
Nobody is
As
around
Mike said,
forever.
big picture.
Ben.
Big picture, baby.
Amanda Nunes talked about retiring after her last fucking fight.
Okay, so if
So
she's
she's
actually
gonna
going to give it
beat-
one more shot, then yeah, make that fight.
She's going to fight Juliana Pena, and then who knows what the fuck she does next. You make that fight now. Make it.
If she, it's like GSP fighting for you know what I mean. That if he's just gonna fucking win and then retire, then do it. You know what I mean? Right off into the sunset. If GSP is gonna lose that fight against Kamaru Usman and then right off into the sunset, that's it. That's all. That's fine. But if he's gonna beat your guy and then fucking retire, it diminishes your champ. You know, there's too much of the business side of this that comes into play, Kyle. I don't want to sound disrespectful, but you've got to think of like selling tickets, selling pay-per-views,
I am
long-term
thinking of
investments
selling
in
tickets.
this.
And you know
And
what? Nothing's forever.
Exactly.
So you're telling
they
me
need
that
to
if
make the
Valentina
money off of them
Shevchenko-
while they're in
so
their
if
prime
Valentina
without diminishing
Shevchenko beats Amanda Nunes and becomes champ, that's not as lucrative as fucking. What are you saying?
Well, it depends. Is Amanda sticking around and fighting, or is she retiring? Is this Amanda's last fight? If Amanda plans on sticking around, if Amanda Nunes plans on sticking around, you have Valentina fight.
Yeah, you got an immediate rematch. You have an immediate rematch.
Then that doesn't make any sense.
That
Have them
doesn't make
fight
any
4
sense?
times. Amanda's got 2 wins over her. So then what? They fight again, and all right, now we've got to have a 5th fight, and then a 6th one, and a 7th one. Fuck this, man. Let's just do one of them 5 out of 7 falls, King of the Ring style tournaments.
Now you're being stupid.
This whole thing is stupid.
No, it's not stupid, dude. The only fucking fight that makes sense is the trilogy.
I love bringing
check it out.
blood pressure up.
Check it
Kyle.
out, right?
It's so fun to fuck with this guy.
Marlon Morrison
versus Amanda Nunes.
versus Amanda. No. Listen, I don't even know how to say this fucking guy's name. It's so hard. Who knows how to say
Volkanovsky.
There we go. These dudes fucking kicked each other's ass. To move on to another subject, these guys beat the shit out of each other.
Wasn't a good fight.
Here's the thing.
Wasn't even entertaining.
This
Marab
fucking
looked
fight,
like shit.
dude.
And so did
Wasn't
Here's the
even
thing.
good.
These
Nope.
guys, it's crazy because we were talking about earlier about Volkanovsky and Brian Ortega and how it's like, oh, you know, and I was listening to some podcasts too, and they're saying this is the even Ariel Helwani, this is one of the best rounds, 3rd round of fucking the entire year. That fucking fight earlier in the night was a fucking great round. Like Moraes, I thought that motherfucker was gonna win, and then all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, somehow
These
he
Georgian
doesn't win the
fighters.
fight, and Davishvili is fucking on top, almost about to win the fight. I was like, what the hell just happened here? That round was absolutely insane. It's crazy how we got an event like this, which Kyle said earlier was a great event, and then you get this fight where you forgot earlier in the night there was a fight that was insane, a round that was just absolutely mind-blowing. So I don't know, man. These guys beat the shit out of each other, and I can't believe that Moraes didn't win that fight.
I would say that no nonsense Keith Peterson. A lot of people were giving him shit about
Yes.
not stopping the fight. I think it was perfect refereeing. It was the referee knowing his fighters and knowing that Davos Wheelie was a fucking absolute savage and is known for fucking taking damage. And anybody who wants to know that can look up on YouTube him diving into a frozen pond and busting his fucking face on ice, which is amazing. The dude's a fucking savage. And I thought that Keith Peterson knew who was in the ring, knew when to stop it and when not to stop it, and let them continue. And when he said, defend yourself, they defended themselves. Both guys.
He was working to better his position, and that's what they ask you for. And like, I'm friends with Merab on Facebook. The dude's a fucking animal. Out there in New York, you guys know we get fucking cold up here. And this guy's out in his shorts in the middle of the fucking winter, -20 temperatures, splitting wood, running miles on his property, man. This guy's a fucking nutcase. I really think that once Aljamain Sterling is out of the title picture, Merab Dvalishvili steps into it and really hard. Like, this guy, I think, is going to sit at the top of the division for the rest of his career if he's not a champ.
No, it was amazing. And like, he showed perseverance like you never fucking seen before. He was out on his feet at one point. He was up against the cage. He turned it around, and then he
Against the cage.
He laid some of the hardest ground and pound I've seen in a long time, man. He was the precision on his ground and pound where he kept standing straight up and then dropping them down. Every fucking one of them landed, and he landed 170 unanswered strikes, which was
That's nuts.
insane. And they said that was it, did it tie the most, or was the most unanswered strikes ever in UFC history or whatever?
I did not catch that. I would have to go back and rewatch, but that sounds about right.
Yeah, 170 without another strike being landed by Moraes. It was fucking nuts, man. And unfortunately for Marlon Morrison, and we're all fans of his. This is 4 out of 5 of his last 5 fights. He fucking got beat, and he got beat pretty bad. So I wonder what the UFC does with him now.
I don't know if they've added in the last fights on the website, but they have Moraes is at 6th still. I don't understand that.
Yeah, the rankings aren't updated until.
Are they not? Yeah, they can't be updated because.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, because he's at 6th and Dvalishvili is at 11th. I have to imagine that Dvalishvili at least moves up to like 8th place or something, right?
Dude,
he has to.
I bet he breaks in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah, he'll definitely be somewhere in the upper top 10. But the rankings will come out tomorrow, and we'll be able to yell at each other over that next. I do think next for him, though, you got to give him somebody towards the top of the division. I wouldn't mind seeing a Frankie Edgar fight, if I'm being honest here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a fun fight. Merab versus Frankie. If not, then maybe somebody like Cody. But Cody's going to 125, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, he said he was. If he actually is or not.
Speaking of 125. Because I'm actually running out of time here to be joined with you guys, or to be joining you guys. I have a 11 o'clock thing I have to take care of, but I do have a fight announcement for you guys for Cage Wars 49. Daddy couldn't come home without bringing some gifts for his favorite people. So, ladies and gentlemen, Cage Wars 49 will have a flyweight title fight between the number 1 ranked flyweight fighter in the Northeast, Mr. Nate Russell, versus Alex De La Cruz. Nate is 7-1 with a good chunk of finishes, and Alex is a technician, 4 wins, no losses, and 1 no contest. So I'm really looking forward to this one. You guys saw the main event. Harley Locklear heading back down to 145, take on Brendan Kennedy. These are 2 undefeated savages. So this is going to be a great card. A lot of other fights going to be announced this week. A couple more title fights coming out. I know at least the one that I just announced for you guys will be out tomorrow. And if I'm remembering correctly, we will have 2 more title fights announced this week. Yeah, and they're going to be monstrous ones. So you guys can definitely look forward to that on the Cage Wars page. Tickets on sale, cagewarsmma.com. Yeah, we've got 2 more title fights being announced this week. So
What was the date for that event?
November 20th from the Rivers Casino and Resort. And we've got some great things in store for you guys for this card. I know quite a few of the fights that are going to be on here, and it's going to be great. Your boy going to be on the mic again, on the commentary this time again. So it's going to be a good time. Joe, trust me, the embarrassment that I will suffer having to go down to the hotel bar. And, oh, yeah, the loser had to buy the drink, too. That was the other stipulation. So the beer will be on me for you two gentlemen when you come out to the next Cage Wars event for that first beer when we go to the hotel bar. But after that, I'm washing that shit off, and we'll hit the after party and have a good time.
He will be Benefer Field that night.
We'll come up with a good drag name or something like that, and we'll set it. So,
all right.
I'm definitely looking forward to having you guys out, though. I know you can't make it for November. You guys have, serving and protecting engagements. You're keeping this country safe. So we'll let you guys take care of that.
A little more credit than I think I deserve it.
All right. Well, hey, let's wrap it up. I mean, shout outs to Jalen Turner, Dawkins. What the fuck? How do you say that? Semmelberger.
Oh, yes.
Smells like burgers.
Yeah. 15-second KO.
A fucking awesome performance by him.
Unreal.
I mean, Dan Hooker looked good as ever against Nasra, and I think that he could step in and fucking fight for a title anytime in that division. Other than that, anything else you want to say before we fucking wrap this up, fellas?
Other than get your tickets for Cage Wars 49, guys. We'll be out there. The after party should be at Van Slyke's on the casino floor afterwards. And I'll be looking forward to raising hell with everybody again. You know me. Fucking, I'm going to be like a really bad baseball pitcher because you're going to be able to catch me high and outside when that fight's over.
All right, Mike, you?
Hey, I can't wait till we can attend or cover, rather, in Against the Cage live. Hopefully it's sooner than later, and looking forward to the next event, the UFC event.
All right, last thing I gotta say is Wednesday night, Joe Riggs, 9 p.m. on Mission Accomplished. And Ben, when's the next time we're gonna get Against the Cage?
I'm thinking. So I actually had some issues where my account got hacked, and I'm currently waiting for my new debit card. So my StreamYard is actually down right now. Once I get that new debit card in the mail, I'm going to get that sumbitch back up and running, but there should be fighter interviews coming by the end of the week. So make sure you guys stay tuned. I'll be announcing that soon.
All right. Well, thank you guys for all tuning in, and we will touch base with you next time. All right. Peace.